And they're off. Princess Adelaide with a smooth start. Secrets Told has plenty of speed, and these two hook up immediately. Benedict Canyon, 2 off the pace in third. Followed by Quiet Secretary between horses, Hotitude at the rail, and 3 more to Tis a Macho Girl. Princess Adelaide narrowly as they head to the half-mile pole. Secrets Told a neck back second, 2 more. Benedict Canyon racing on the outside of Hotitude with Quiet Secretary in the middle. 5 back to Tis a Macho Girl into the far turn, and it's Princess Adelaide just under a length. Secrets Told has to keep pace second. Still 2 more. Hotitude at the rail, Benedict Canyon on the outside, and Quiet Secretary between. Tis a Macho Girl trails. They're turning for home, and Princess Adelaide and Secrets Told 1-2 throughout. Princess Adelaide lets it out a notch with a furlong to go. Opens up a length and a half on Secrets Told in second. From the back of the field, Tis a Macho Girl finishing with some interest. Past the 16th pole, Princess Adelaide a length over Secrets Told, and that's how they'll finish. Princess Adelaide wins it by a length. Secrets Told was second. Tis a Macho Girl third, and then Hotitude. They're in the gate. And they're off. She's My Niece, Becky's Dream. Both have plenty of early speed. At the rail, If You Ain't First, You're Last takes third. They are followed between rivals by Kathira. Down at the rail, Smooth Over, and they are for sale at the back. 3 furlongs out, the favorite square off, She's My Niece and Becky's Dream. They've sped 6 lengths clear, coming toward the quarter pole. Kathira clear-cut third now, followed by If You Ain't First, You're Last. They Are For Sale is next, top of the stretch, and Becky's Dream is the new leader. Has it by a head to She's My Niece at the rail. Becky's Dream just hand-ridden by Tiago Pereira, now kicks clear, and it's Becky's Dream cruising through the stretch as much the best. Becky's Dream will report home 3 or 4 in front. She's My Niece second best, Kathira third. They Are For Sale was fourth. They're in the gate. And they're off. Parco and Classy Mademoiselle vying for the lead with Hot Rod Mama third. Run for My Honey comes away in fourth, and Moving Like a Winner off a tad slow is now moving right into contention along the rail. It's Classy Mademoiselle and Parco. Parco is the leader coming to the 6 furlong pole. Classy Mademoiselle now 2 off her in second, followed by Moving Like a Winner on the inside of Hot Rod Mama. Hot Rod Mama now third, and Run for My Honey 3 wide. It's a compact group that heads to the 5/8 pole. Parco is the boss. Has it by a length and a half now. In second, Classy Mademoiselle, followed by Run for My Honey, making an early 4 wide bid. Hot Rod Mama just inside of her, and Moving Like a Winner 6 lengths off the pace. Past the half-mile pole, it's Parco a half length to Classy Mademoiselle. Hot Rod Mama, Run for My Honey. These 4 separated by less than 2 lengths. Another 5 back to Moving Like a Winner. Classy Mademoiselle back up to take the lead away from Parco. Run for My Honey third. Ask for a little bit more. Has a length to make up on the top pair. Still very much in it. Hot Rod Mama is in fourth. 4 back to Moving Like a Winner. It's Classy Mademoiselle at the top of the stretch. Run for My Honey on the outside, chasing gamely. Hot Rod Mama trying to split rivals in doing so. They're inside the 8th pole. Classy Mademoiselle, 3/4 of a length. Run for My Honey, gaining slowly on the outside. And then comes Hot Rod Mama. Classy Mademoiselle digging in, and Classy Mademoiselle wins it by a length and a half. Run for My Honey tried her best. Then it was Hot Rod Mama and Moving Like a Winner. And they're off. Took charge very quick. Hembry came away smoothly. Alpine Thunder, Air along the inside. Air is only about a length and a half off the lead as they run down the back stretch. It's Took Charge in front. Chaos Theory is in second, followed by Air, Alpine Thunder, and Hembry now at the back. 6 lengths covers the field and Took Charge with a very easy lead, 3/4 of a length. Chaos Theory now gets a little bit closer in second, and it's 2 more back to Air at the rail in third. Alpine Thunder is 3 lengths off the lead and 2 clear of Hembry. Into the far turn, Took Charge by 2. Chaos Theory at the inside second, then comes Air, followed by Alpine Thunder in fourth. Hembry is fifth, but only 4 lengths covers the group as they head toward the quarter pole. And Took Charge has been there throughout, leads it by a length and a half. On the outside, Chaos Theory takes a crack at him now in second. Air down at the rail in third, followed by Alpine Thunder and Hembry. Final furlong for Took Charge, still going strongly through the stretch. And Took Charge with a 3-length advantage, and that's 3 in a row for Tiago Pereira. Took Charge, an easy W. Second to Hembry, third to Chaos Theory, and Air finished up in fourth. Back-to-back for Jorge Parabon as well. They're in the gate. And they're off. Tropicana Girl and Talkative Gal both out quickly. Wrong Turn Cupid, though, is faster than both and up to take the lead. Lunatic in the Peak now takes second. Now Tropicana Girl is along the rail, racing a joint third, about 2 lengths off the speed. Drizella is racing 1 from the rail, and Island Life is in that group, too. Down at the rail, Big Bell is about 4 lengths off the lead. Vegan is just in front of that rival as they move around the far turn, and it's Wrong Turn Cupid just in front. Lunatic pressing in second. 4 more lengths, Tropicana Girl in third. Drizella is racing on the outside. A gap of 2 back to Talkative Gal, followed by Big Bell and Vegan. A long way back to Island Life. They turn for home. Wrong Turn Cupid and the big favorite Lunatic up to challenge. These two 1-2 at the 8th pole. Wrong Turn Cupid digging in. Lunatic up alongside. 3 more lengths. Tropicana Girl finishing with some nice interest in third. Past the 16th pole. Wrong Turn Cupid still a half length to Lunatic. At the rail, Tropicana Girl surging. Here's the line. Wrong Turn Cupid. Turn them all away. A big upset. Tropicana Girl, then it was Lunatic, followed by Drizella and Talkative Gal. Fine Armor going up and in. And they're off. Slight bobble for Flying Drummer, but he recovers immediately and battles it out with Divine Armor for the lead. Coastal Kid keeps the pressure on in between them, and then it's Katona in the yellow colors fourth. Phineas just behind them. Down at the rail comes Showtime, who's only 3 lengths off the lead. Vanzi is next, and at the back of the field is Motown Music. Rounding the first turn, 6 furlongs to run. Flying Drummer short lead, Coastal Kid and Eckback second. Then it's Showtime, inching up on the inside of Divine Armor. Katona is in between those two. Vanzi is now 4 wide, but just 3 lengths off the lead. Phineas is next at the back of a very compact field, and Motown Music. 4 lengths front to back. Flying Drummer, Coastal Kid. There's room for Showtime. He takes that inviting opening and moves on with it now. Showtime, the new leader, less than a half mile to go. Flying Drummer now second. Coastal Kid third. A 4-wide Divine Armor. Then comes Katona. Vanzi losing ground. Phineas behind them, 5 lengths off the lead. Starting to pick up some nice momentum. And another 2 back to Motown Music. It's Showtime and Flying Drummer coming to the quarter pole together. Divine Armor 3 wide. Phineas is coming just behind him. He'll be caught 4 wide at the rail. Katona trying to come back for more, looking for racing room. 3/16 of a mile to go. Showtime tough. Flying Drummer ahead back second. Katona trying to get out of there, and he's doing it right now. And here comes Katona after the new leader, Flying Drummer. Flying Drummer opens up 2. Katona moves clearly into second as Divine Armor takes third. Flying Drummer, Katona, 4 wins for Tiago Pereira. He is on a roll. Flying Drummer second. Then it was between Divine Armor and Showtime. Phineas was 5th. All set. And they're off in the Daytona. And Burnin' Turf came out well, so did Fast Buck. And Fast Buck sprints up to take command. Burnin' Turf is already 3 lengths behind him in second. They're followed by Prince Lancelot in third. Lovesick Blues along the rail is 8 lengths off this loose leader, followed by Indian Peak moving up on the inside of Restrained Vengeance and What Makes Sammy Run. Fast Buck blazes down the hill. He's all alone, 8 lengths in front of Burnin' Turf second. It's another couple of lengths back to Prince Lancelot. Lovesick Blues is next. What Makes Sammy Run is trying to mount a bid from well behind. Indian Peak and now Restrained Vengeance is at the back of the field. Fast Buck, What Makes Sammy Run, eating up the ground, moving into second on the outside of Burnin' Turf. Center of the course, Indian Peak, Fast Buck, 2-length lead. What Makes Sammy Run closing with every stride. And Indian Peak on the outside, Lovesick Blues. What Makes Sammy Run comes to Fast Buck on the inside. Lovesick Blues finishing very strongly too. Here is the line. Fast Buck fought them all off. What Makes Sammy Run had all day to get him. Then it was Lovesick Blues, followed by Burnin' Turf. CZ Rocket to complete the line for the Triple Bend Stakes. And they're off in the Triple Bend. Spirit of McKenna came out smoothly, but no surprise as Forbidden Kingdom goes up to set the pace, and he speeds clear by about 1.5 lengths. Midnight Mammoth takes second, just in front of Spirit of McKenna. The pace appears moderate early on. Then comes Positivity in fourth with 4 to make up. CZ Rocket is next on the outside of Desmond Doss and Howbeit at the back of the field. Forbidden Kingdom leads the way by about 2. Spirit of McKenna content to sit in second, and then comes Midnight Mammoth third. CZ Rocket, Desmond Doss right together, Positivity between those two, and Howbeit at the back. Forbidden Kingdom lets it out a notch 3 furlongs from home. Has it 2.5 lengths to Spirit of McKenna in second. CZ Rocket set down, goes by Midnight Mammoth. At the rail, Desmond Doss is only 4 lengths off the lead. Then Positivity and Howbeit. Spirit of McKenna looms alongside Forbidden Kingdom and puts him away in the blink of an eye. Desmond Doss and CZ Rocket take up the chase, but it is Spirit of McKenna with a 3-length lead. Spirit of McKenna, an immensely talented individual, cruises home in the Triple Bend. Never asked for much from Joe Bravo. Desmond Doss, CZ Rocket in a close photo for the place. Then Forbidden Kingdom and Positivity. The ninth, scratch 3, crescendo molto. Post time in 22 minutes. Billy Gallivan. And they're off. LT's Choice. Whirly Gurly has plenty of speed, and Paid in Gold moves up outside of them and takes second. They're followed by Conceal and Carry. Precocious Times is down on the inside, and the early trailer is Billy Gallivan. Into the first turn, and it's Whirly Gurly setting the tempo, opening up pretty easily, has a 2-length advantage on Paid in Gold. At the rail, LT's Choice is in third. Conceal and Carry fourth, 3 lengths off the pace, a little bit eager under a tight hold, followed by Precocious Times, who's 4 off the lead, and Billy Gallivan just outside of her. They swing on to the backstretch behind Whirly Gurly, 3/4 of a length. Paid in Gold second, Conceal and Carry to their outside. Precocious Times, LT's Choice right together, and Billy Gallivan continues with a half-mile to go. It's Whirly Gurly, who's been the pace setter throughout, cruising into the far turn with a half-length lead. Paid in Gold trying to press now in second. They tried to quicken just a touch with less than 3 furlongs to travel. It's Whirly Gurly just in front, Paid in Gold racing in second. At the rail, LT's Choice, and now Precocious Times makes a dangerous move on the outside, swinging to the 3 path as they straighten up for home. Paid in Gold on the outside of Whirly Gurly. Precocious Times bears down, though, and turns out the lights quickly. Precocious Times. Hernandez peeks back. He knows it's lights out, game over. Precocious Times, the easiest kind of win. Whirly Gurly gamely holds second in front of Paid in Gold, and then it's a photo in behind them, LT's Choice and Billy Gallivan.
Hey everybody, today Sandy is celebrating the Calbreds. That's right, if you looked at the program, all races today, all 10 races are for the Calbreds, either Calbred or Calsart. It's going to be a great day of racing. And the irony is both myself and our seminar guest today, we're not Calbreds. We're Midwest breds, but more importantly, we've been here for over 40 years. So I guess we're adopted sons of California. So I guess you can technically consider us Calbreds. Pleased to introduce our special seminar guest for today, trainer Doug O'Neill. Doug, happy Sunday. Welcome to the seminar.
Too, Tom. And Tom, there is a 7-second delay in case I cuss, right?
It's the George Carlin rule, right?
Okay, good.
Yeah, we've got you covered. Don't worry about it. Boy, look how dapper you look as a trainer. You weren't mucking any stalls this morning, were you?
Sunday's best.
Did you go to church already and say a few prayers?
Mentally, yeah. Lit a couple candles, almost caused a fire, and got out of there, and so we're good. I'm fired up today. I'm honored to be here.
We're honored to have you. Now, you just celebrated a special birthday earlier this week. Did you do anything fun? I know the trainer's life is not all fun and glory 7 days a week, but did you sneak away somewhere fun?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We went. We had a little dinner.
Yeah, good. How about with your buddy Mark Verge? He celebrates the birthday on the same day. How
Mark
crazy
Verge,
is that?
Bob Dylan. Me too. You know.
Did he join you for dinner?
Bob was there, spiritually in spirit. Yeah, he was a lot of like, what's going on? Is there wine in the
all the rock stars?
All the rock stars. But no, great time. And I'm 55, but I read at a 6-year-old level, so I'm very proud of that. I'm good on that, but no, it's exciting and just getting better. Every day is getting a little better. I
talked about how you were a Midwest bred, Doug. You were born in Dearborn, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit. You moved out here at the age of 10 to Southern California.
Yep.
Did you go to Detroit Racecourse or Hazel Park before you moved out to Southern California?
You know, you had to be 14 to get in, so my dad and my uncles would go all the time. Hazel Park, DRC. And I'd hear all
and leave you behind?
Leave me behind. And when we moved out here, the very first weekend, we didn't go to Magic Mountain or Disneyland or any Laker game. I went to the track. And so I realized, wow, okay, now I know why my dad and uncle loved the races. And it was back before ADW, so there was 50,000 people here.
Sure.
Free tote bags. It was just the
T-shirts.
Shoemaker, McCarran, you know, the Pink Eye, all the celebrity amazing jockeys. And so I fell in love with it right away, right at that point.
What was it about it that made you fall in love with the sport? Was it the majesty of the horse itself? Was it just kind of the whole surroundings? Was it the electricity in the grandstands? All of the above? What was it that kind of made you fall in love with the sport at the age of 10?
I know, you know, at that age, I probably couldn't have articulated it. But looking back, I would say just the shared experience of so many people and the excitement of each race and the puzzle of each race, trying to put who's going to be on the pace, who's coming from out the pace, and then just seeing the amazing athletes and horses and jockeys, and then seeing guys like Charlie Whittingham, who, you know, I'd heard about, but to see him actually walk in the paddock, like, whoa. So
former
Marine, just just Gary Jones, just so many legend horsemen, and it's just one of those things. I was like, wow, if I could ever figure out a way to be in part of that community, life would be pretty darn good.
And you did figure out a way to get in that community at a relatively young age. Who did you start with, and what was kind of your responsibilities?
God, you know, I had a mentor and a coach and a teacher named Mike Amadei, who graduated from Temple City High, the Rams. And
did he go to Notre Dame?
He actually didn't. He went to LMU.
Okay,
but,
all right.
But he's now he's back. It's funny you say that because he's a huge Notre Dame fan, and he's now running Anna Marie Press there at Notre Dame in South Bend. So, but Mike went to school with Jude Feld.
Yeah.
So when Mike overheard one day at St. Monica's, I was there saying how much I love the racing. He's like, God, I know I graduated with a guy who's a trainer at the track. And I said, who? And he said Jude Feld. And Jude Feld was a celebrity to me too, because he's a trainer. So
sure.
Like, you know Jude Feld?
Gregarious, a fun-loving type of guy.
The best. Just great guy, great horseman. So when I graduated from high school, all my friends went to Santa Monica Junior College or whatever college. And I was like, I cannot be in a classroom ever again.
Sure.
And, so I got Jude's number, called him, and he basically said, come Monday morning at 4:45 at Del Mar and you got a job. I was like, whoa. So
that sounded better than college at that point.
I remember first day, he's like, grab a shank. I'm like, God, are we going to kill somebody? Are we in jail right now? I'm not going to do that. This isn't what I signed up for.
He threw you into the deep end right away.
Yeah, and I didn't even know what a shank was.
Sure.
I'm like, holy. And then started walking horses. And then I remember Tim Conway Sr. came walking down the shed row. He had a horse with him. I'm like, this just doesn't get any better.
Correct.
A couple of the horses I walked, I had bet on the weekend before.
Were they winners?
Yeah, maybe a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But
you didn't get buried.
Didn't get buried, but it's amazing how, you know, you look at the horses as celebrities as well. So it was just, something I've been doing ever since, and I love every minute of it.
I'm old enough to remember when you kind of started your training career, you took Southwest Airlines to, I believe, Lexington, Kentucky with Felipe Martinez way back when. I'm old enough to remember that. Do you remember that? We shared that experience where you hopped on a plane. Might have been one of your first out-of-state runners. I don't think you fly Southwest anymore,
You might have been wearing that same shirt. I do remember that. No, I can't remember yesterday, to be honest with you, Tom. But Felipe Martinez, who's still in the barn area working his butt off, exercise riding. He's such a great friend and great horseman, and he's retired riding now, of course. But yeah, I remember going on that trip. It was one of our first trips to run a horse together. He had his like leather jacket. Do you have a leather jacket?
I don't know. I wasn't on the plane with you. You just told me about it.
I remember he showed up at the airport with like a Fonzie, from Happy Days leather jacket. Like, dang, he messed around. So.
People on the plane were wondering like about the two of you, right? Like, what's going on here? Going to Kentucky,
these
they kind of stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, we could not have robbed a bank on that moment. But that's a good horse will take you to so many cool places, introduce you to so many cool people, and I've been blessed to be on a lot of cool journeys.
Took me to Dubai as well with Hot Rod Charlie, and I'm sure some others, but that was quite the experience with Bill Strauss and the rest of the owners.
Great group of guys. My nephew Patrick as well, and the great friend Greg Helm of Roadrunner and his group. So it really was Dubai. It's their baseball, Chevy apple pie type of thing. They love their racing, and they roll out the red carpet for everybody involved. So that's always been a great experience.
We joked about Felipe, but you do have a very good staff that's been with you for a long time. Leander Morrow comes to mind, your brother Dennis O'Neill, Steve Rothblum, Kim, who runs your barn down at San Luis Rey. I mean, let's face it, the big operation that you have, you just literally couldn't do it by yourself. You have to rely on people to kind of march to the same drummer that you do.
Hey, you're 100%. And Stephanie Murray and Kentucky and her husband Connor. So you debate whether or not, once you get over about 25 or 30 horses, if you don't have a great crew, it just gets super overwhelming. It's already a tad overwhelming.
Yes.
But when you got people like Leandro and Kim and Stephanie and Benjamin and Andreas, and so we got so many people, it's they kind of know your routine. I know their routine. So it's really, we just love and with all the horses and just try to place them, take great care of them, and place them where they can be competitive. And it's a great sport.
We're never overwhelmed whenever we have Doug O'Neill as our seminar guest. We're going to find out who Doug likes on today's 10-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on today's Sunday's card here at the Great Race Place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast, the turf firm, with the rail on the turf at 10 feet today. Here are the early changes. The first is the Crystal Water Stake, scratch 4, Indian Peak, scratch 7, the Chosen Vron. 4 and 7 out of the first. 50-cent early pick 5 begins with race 1. In the second, we have the program scratch at number 3, L Square. Third race, we have a blinker note. In the fourth, the Franz Valentine, scratch number 4, closing remarks. There's no high 5 wagering in race 4. The Rainbow 6 starts with our fifth race, the Melaire. $276,000 in the jackpot carryover. Regardless of pool size today, if there is a single ticket winner, it'll pay $1 million. Race 6 starts the late pick 5. Just blinker notes. In the 7th, scratch 2, Sawazdi. Note that number 1, Bus Buzz, will carry 1 pound over. The 8th is the Snow Chief. Blinker notes. 9th race, program scratch of number 1 and scratch number 4, Positivity. No show wagering in the Thor's Echo. The golden hour pick 4 begins with race 9. And the 10th start of the golden hour double, scratch number 5, Star Prospect. We go back now to Quigley's Corner to resume the seminar. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. Post time for the opener in 58 minutes at 1 p.m.
Welcome back. We're shooting the breeze with trainer Doug O'Neill. He's won 2 Kentucky Derbies, 2 Preaknesses, a couple of Breeders' Cup races as well. I think 5 in total, and he's got 4 runners in on today's card. We're going to talk about the entire 10-race card. But before we do, Doug, let's kind of walk down memory lane and take a look at some of those Kentucky Derby and Big Cap victories. First, let's start with Lava Man. He won the Big Cap 2 consecutive years back in 2006 and 2007. Before we get your thoughts on that, let's watch the stretch run of the 2000 Big Cap and take a look at the field and the size of the crowd in the infield as we watch the stretch run.
Lava Man in full flight. He's absolutely opened up on them. Magnum, the long shot, running a huge one in second. Giacomo did not fire, nor did High Limit. Wilco's far back. Homeward bound Lava Man. The long shot, Magnum now coming fast along the inside. Lava Man digs deep. He calls on all his class. And Lava Man and Corey Nakatani have won the Big Cap to a very gallant Magnum.
That was 17 years ago, Corey Nakatani in the saddle. Before we talk about your remembrances of that particular race, you claimed Lava Man for $50,000 early in his career. What made you, what created the decision for you to dip in and take him for 50?
Well, Tom, I'm just really sharp.
Well, we know that. You wouldn't be on the seminar otherwise.
I'm kidding. That was all Steve Kenley, who
one of the owners.
One of the owners, yeah. He had liked him the previous race, and I was kind of giving the old, you're kind of a moron.
Yeah, right. Shows you how much you know.
Yeah. And then he came back in for 50, and he was like, if you don't take him, I'm going to take him with somebody else. So, no, he came to us in great shape, and he just got a 3-year-old who just got better and better. So.
Never in your wildest imagination could you imagine what he put together in terms of his career.
No, and he was always plagued with little feet issues, and his longtime groom, Noah Garcia, just unbelievable, took care of him. And then Jimmy Jimenez, our shoer, the old cliche, no foot, no horse.
Of course.
So true. And Jimmy did a lot of magical things with shoeing him, keeping him sound and happy.
Now he's called Coach in the barn. Is he still one of the stable ponies, or did you guys put him off to the pasture?
He is retired. He is his mailing address now is in Kentucky. Old friends.
Yep, great place.
Great place, and they send us updates all the time, and he gets tons of visitors every weekend, almost every day. So he's a happy camp. We miss the heck out of him.
You're jealous of him, right? He's got a bigger fan club than you do.
He's getting a little bit bigger belly than me, which is hard to believe. And he's happy and living the life that he deserves.
He won back-to-back Big Cap. So let's take a look at the stretch run of the 2007 Big Cap right here at the Great Race Place.
Roadblock, Awesome Gem did not go on. Homeward bound in the Big Cap, and it's Lava Man, the leader. McCann's Mojave running a huge one, coming back. Malangau spring at last in ball 4. Lava Man has to call on all his class. Malangau's chasing him, but Lava Man is too good, and Lava Man and Corey Nakatani win the Big Cap.
Here in McCann's Mojave's name might have made our publicity director, Mike Willman, vomit in the trash can because he owned that very talented runner. But watching that replay again, it was almost like an instant replay. Corey Nakatani fit that horse perfectly. And let's face it, there's a lot of horses that certain jockeys fit their particular style, and Corey fit him like a glove.
Yeah, Corey is an unbelievable jockey and also unbelievable athlete. And Lava Man, equally, just kind of a blue-collar, tough guy. You wouldn't want to bump into him in an alley at the wrong time of night, and Corey's the same way. And yeah, Corey just had that at the 3/8. I'm going to go and kind of rip the heart out of the other horses and see how this goes, and it worked every time. Trevor
Denman, the track announcer, kind of knew when Corey made that move that it was kind of lights out, right?
Yeah.
You could hear it in Trevor's voice that it was basically, set game and match whenever he made that big electrifying mover on the far turn.
Yeah, and sometimes Lava Man would get a little tired late, and then he'd feel some horses coming, and he'd just find another gear. And yeah.
Speaking of finding another gear, the 2012 Kentucky Derby was your first Kentucky Derby victory with I'll Have Another. Listen to these names coming down the lane that I'll Have Another beat in the 2012 Kentucky Derby.
Meister's got a 5-length lead. I'll Have Another on the outside. Now has moved into second. And then down toward the outside, Creative Cause. Bodie Meister holding on to the lead. I'll Have Another on the outside is closing in. I'll Have Another colors Bodie Meister. Dullahan on the far outside. Here's the wire. I'll Have Another has won the Kentucky Derby.
Doug, it's never easy to reel in a Bob Baffert runner with a 5-length lead as they turn for home, but I'll Have Another did exactly that. Mario Gutierrez was relatively an unknown name. It shipped down here from Hastings Park. He was cool as a cucumber on that particular ride. That was your first Kentucky Derby win. Watching that replay, it kind of sent goosebumps up your arm just watching that. What do you remember about that particular day, and maybe even the after party afterwards?
It's a big blur, to be honest with you. Fortunately, I've got some friends there in Kentucky, and Vinny, Vinny.
Yep,
Vinny,
of course.
Yeah, so Vinny and his boys, and of course Mark Verge was out there, and then the Redhams, they're so generous, great people. They had a bunch of people out there as well. So it was this one big fiesta.
Yeah,
and
as it should be.
Yeah, exactly. We're all just so blessed to and grateful for I'll Have Another, and we just celebrated I'll Have Another all night long.
You mentioned Mr. Redham. Of course, you revisited the Kentucky Derby winner's circle in 2016 with Nyquist. Take a look at who finished second in this particular Kentucky Derby. He's turned out to be one of the most prolific sires.
And it's Nyquist. Nyquist has taken the lead on the outside. Gunrunner second at the rail. 5 lengths back to Destin in third. And they come to the final furlong. Exaggerator is closing in. Nyquist to catch with a 16th to go. Gunrunner, Exaggerator on the outside. Nyquist and Exaggerator, they're coming to the line together. And Nyquist is still unbeaten. He has won the Kentucky Derby.
Exaggerator, Gunrunner, all in the wake of Nyquist, and you saw Mario Gutierrez take a look over his shoulder.
That's classic.
It wasn't a $25,000 claiming race. It was the Grade 1 Kentucky Derby. Talk about confidence. He had confidence in Nyquist.
I know. We actually kidded him a lot about doing that. Like, if he would have got nipped on the wire doing that. But, yeah, I think we all had so much confidence in him. Mario leads.
He was a very talented horse, undefeated up to that point.
Yeah, just brilliant. And, yeah, he's and he's turned out to be a great stallion as well. So the Gunrunner, arguably unbelievable, right? But Nyquist isn't too shabby either.
And Mr. Redham has a lot of fun naming his horses, both Nyquist, named after the Detroit Red Wings hockey player, and I'll Have Another. Now, most people would think I'll Have Another means that it's something alcohol beverage related.
If it was you,
of course, that'd be 1 to 9, right?
Exactly.
But it was actually extra cookies.
Yeah, which is.
Is that really a true story? I mean, the statute of limitations have run out now.
I know, you would think, because it doesn't really have the greatest storytelling thing, really. But he said, in all honesty, he had told, Zilli would give him so much crap about, have these 4 or 5 cookies.
Right.
And he always say, oh, I'll have another. She's like, so yeah, it kind of is their running joke, and it worked out to be a great name for a great horse.
You've got a lot of good owners, obviously, as part of your stable. And one of the new owners is the Delmar Group. And, of course, they've invested a lot of money. They're high-profile people. I think they're willing to share some of their names with them publicly. Of course, it's Coach Mick Cronin, who you're good friends with, Coach Chip Kelly, the football coach at UCLA, Bill Strauss, Todd from Lake Tahoe. I'm sure there's others, but they obviously have a lot of fun. Henry Q was one of your best 3-year-olds. What's in store for him next?
Henry Q, we were debating over the Affirmed next weekend here. I worked him today. He worked well, but I think he probably needs another work or two. So
let's stop right there for a minute. What did he tell you where you might think that he needs more time? Like, what was it? He just didn't finish up well. He didn't come back the way he wanted him to. He just think the competition's going to be too tough.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of, could he make it? For sure. But to me, it took a little bit longer to cool out, drank a little bit more water than I wanted to see. And so it's such an inexact science, right? But as you get to know these horses, I know when he's coming out of his skin, he could do what he did today and not blow out a match and not even look at water, and today he did. So I was like, yeah, I think we just take it easy, and the Ohio Derby is kind of on the map now.
Beautiful. Ohio Derby, I think, is where 2 Phils might wind up as well down the road. So you might have some tough competition there. So
maybe by him being in there, maybe it'd be a small field. Yeah. No, he is a nice horse, but he's coming off some tough races, so maybe we'll be a little fresher.
Let's take a look at today's 10-race card deck. I'm not going to put you completely to the handicapping test, but I do want to go through the card. As I mentioned, you've got 4 runners on today's card. But in the first race, it's the Crystal Water Stakes, $100,000 guaranteed. The turf rails today are at 10 feet. It also begins the 50-cent early pick 5. There's 2 scratches. Indian Peak and the Chosen Vron will not compete. That leaves us with a field of 5. Kings River Knight is the current 4 to 5 betting choice. And the question I really wanted to ask you is kind of put yourself in John Sadler's shoes. We haven't seen Kings River Knight since mid-March. So basically we're going on 2 months since the last race. I can tell you that according to the clockers, he's out working Tripoli, who's a graded stakes winner from the John Sadler barn. How do you guys kind of manage these, like I guess I call them mini layoffs, where you're trying to find the right race for them, them, but you can't really get a race into them, so you can't simulate a race. Like, how do you, forget about John Sadler, how do you kind of manage a horse like this?
You know, I think the turf horses are a little bit easier to bring off a layoff because generally they just gallop around there and they finish up, right? For the dirt routes, especially, you got to run from gate to wire and it's more demanding. So that being said, I don't think the layoff's that big of a deal. He's got some good works, like you say. With a dirt horse coming off a layoff, if I've got to go 7 furlongs or farther, you know, I'm working them 6 furlongs. I'm putting them in behind horses, or I'm going to work them 5 or 6 out of the gate. Something a little bit more demanding to have them ready. But just from looking at this, you got the misleading rider, you got a great trainer in John Sadler, you got a horse with a great form. Yeah, that horse looks pretty tough to beat.
You talked a lot about training during your analysis right there, Doug. How do you decide which horses to train here at Santa Anita and which horses to train down at San Luis Rey?
You know, the horses that we get in from the farm, I generally like to start at San Luis Rey just because it's so tranquil and quiet down there.
Yes.
There's only like 400 horses down there, so it's pretty mellow. And coming here with the amount of horse we've got here, they got to be a little bit more mentally tough, I think. So that's kind of my simple thinking, is that if the horse isn't completely mature mentally or ready for it, I'll send them to San Luis Downs first.
Let's take a look at race number 2. Begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This race is for the babies. Again, all races are for Calbreds. This is a maiden special rate, sprinting 5.5 furlongs. The first 5.5 furlong distance race for the babies this year. I shouldn't say the babies. 3, 4, and 5 years old. Scratch the 3 L squared. Leaves us with a field of 6. Morning line favorite down on the rail. Number 1, Grand Tiger. 9-5 on the morning line. 8-5 on the morning line. Question for you here, Doug, is, do you know when you get a 2-year-old that they have a lot of ability right off to the bat, or do they kind of, I know each horse is an individual, but how do you kind of evaluate where they're at and when to start their career?
Yeah, I think if they're good out of the gate and then they're competitive from the pole, you know, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. So, you know, we try to do a lot of gate stuff with them. That's Leandro Mora, who's my main guy.
Yes.
He worked for Brian Mayberry for years. They won so many baby races, and Leandro's always reminds me, you know, it's the gate. You win the race. You win or lose the race at the gate with the baby. So we try to really, once they're following the doors really quickly, then it's time for us to interrupt.
Like with, I'll have another in Nyquist who won the Kentucky Derby. Did you kind of start their career a little bit later, realizing that they had that much ability, or did that ability kind of start to develop when they turned 3?
You know, both of those were bought in 2-year-old and training sales. So my brother Dennis picked them both out. And he's not just
sharp.
He's sharp.
He's not just a good stallion,
No.
right? He's got Shane, obviously.
That's
Not
right.
sure how that combination worked out, but
I don't know. Yeah, that could have
breed
been
the best of the best and hope for the best.
A teaser might have got loose there or something. I don't know. We got to do some DNA there. But yeah, it's with those 2-year-old and training sale horses. Sometimes you got to slow down a little bit when they come after the sale. So they were both pretty unique, but pretty forward mentally as well when we got them going.
Race number 3 is where you have your first runner. It's 1 mile on the main track. Again, for maiden special weights, we've got a field of 7. Morning line favorite, again, down on the rail, Austonian, who puts blinkers on for trainer Brian Corner. You've got Ship and Scam, who's had plenty of chances, 6-1 on the morning line, owned by Dr. Redham, ridden by Mario Gutierrez. There's that Kentucky Derby combination. This horse has to be frustrating to you, right? Sprint routes, everything you've tried to do, turf, and really with no success. You know, what are you expecting from him today?
We're expecting him to run 5th today is what we're expecting, looking at his form. But no, he's a horse. We actually have been trying to go a mile in the dirt, and they're hard to fill. So this race is right up his alley, we believe. He has been training well. But yeah, it is hard when you look at a horse who's 0 for 10 to get super confident in. But he is doing well, and Mario knows him super well. And he is constantly saying he needs a mile. So we'll see how today's go. The race doesn't look overly tough.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got a chance if you can just not look at his last 10 races.
The run into the clubhouse turn comes up awful quick.
Yeah,
going a flat mile, drawing the outside post, and coming out of a sprint. You expect Ship and Scam to show maybe a little bit early speed today?
I still think you're going to probably see him towards he'll be last or second or third or last. He just doesn't have a lot of gate speed, so I imagine him being back there, and then hopefully some of these horses get tired up front of him, he can pick up the pieces.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at race number 4. It's another stakes race. The Franz Valentine Stakes for fillies and mares traveling 1 mile on the turf course. The rails, as I mentioned, are at 10 feet. We've got one scratch. Scratch the 4. Closing remarks. New morning line favorite will be number 7, Big Switch from the John Sadler barn. John Sadler could have a big day today. Let's talk about the Calbred program for a minute, because, of course, there's so many influential people, Mr. and Mrs. Ronas, George Krikorian, Harris Ranch, Terry Lovinger. The list is endless. We live, eat, sleep, and breathe California racing. We need the breeding industry to succeed, and right now it's a challenge.
I know. I completely agree with you. And the amount of sweat and tears and labor and everything that goes into running a farm like that to breed horses, it's we got to commend them, because without them we're in trouble. And so it is great that we can honor him on today. Hope it'd be nice if we had 2, 3, 4 days a year that we could honor him. But
particularly with these purses.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that we got a good purse here. Actually, I'm a little biased, of course, but the
rail.
I like the rail horse.
Couldn't see that
I
coming.
know, where'd that come from? Wow, a shocker. But no, I just think from the rail, Mario's gonna get out there. The rail's at 10 feet too, and that she's always gives. Ben Cecil has done a brilliant job with this filly or mare. So I look at her 10-1. I love those odds. I'll be betting a few bucks.
You do bet a few bucks? That's actually something I know you hang out in suite number 1 and have a good time, but every once in a while you'll step up to the window, even on a runner that might not be in your stable?
Yeah, I'm kind of that $100.
Yeah.
Like 50 wins. I like doing the win show. You're going for the win, but then you're looking for a little
Now, real gamblers will crucify you. You never bet the show.
Mathematically, though, because I used to bet win play show. But mathematically, if you bet win show, you'll be ahead.
You sure?
Win, play,
you sure?
Show. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're betting the same amount,
you're stepping out of your comfort zone here a little bit. I don't want to, put you to the test mathematically, but okay, good. Question for you, Doug. And you talked about Square Eddie and Ben Cecil and Mr. Redham. Back in the day when it was yourself and Ben Cecil and Eddie Freeman and maybe some other trainers, how did you guys decide which horses get placed where? Was that completely Mr. Redham's decision? Did you guys all go to the farm and kind of take a look at them and say, I want this one and I want that one? Kind of what went into who went where?
Paul loves to say none of us really know until they run, right?
None of us do.
Yeah. So there will be times where I'm like, God, Paul, please throw my name in the hat for that particular one. And then that horse turns out to be like the slowest of all of them, right? So he's like, he'll remind me of many of those that I picked out like that. So I think a lot of it is Paul and Zilla just kind of have, this one might be more suited for Ben's personality, my personality, Edward's personality. Now,
or the staff you have, right?
Yeah, the staff. Yeah. So I think you'd have to ask them really about that. But selfishly, I think if you ask Ben, Edward, and I, each of us want all of them.
Yes, of course. Right.
That ain't going to happen. So, yeah, we're just grateful for one of them.
Just throw them down the road. Race number 5 begins the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. As you might have heard, or as you can see on the screen, if you're the only single ticket in today's 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6, you will get $1 million guaranteed, regardless of the pool size. And keep in mind, tomorrow, mandatory payout. We've got a great 10-race card tomorrow, highlighted by the Shoemaker Mile and the Grade 1 Gamely. But first things first, this is the main reason why I wanted Doug on the seminar today. That's because it's the mile and a 16th Melaire Stakes for 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th. And the 3 to 5 morning line favorite resides in your barn, Doug. Number 5, Ceiling Crusher. First time around 2 turns at morning line odds of 3 to 5. Harvey Pack from the New York Racing Association, who I'm sure you know, said never bet on a short price on a horse doing something for the very first time. Ceiling Crusher now is doing something for the very first time. But before I get your thoughts on the race, let's watch the last workout for Ceiling Crusher back on May 21st. It was 6 furlongs, 113 and change, courtesy of our friends at xbtv.com. We can see Ceiling Crusher working right now alone on the main track. I've already watched this workout earlier this morning, Doug. I thought it was a good workout. What did you think of her workout on this particular morning?
Same thing. Antonio Fresu worked her this particular day, and he loved her. She's hard filly not to love. I was just looking for her to settle and kind of be off the bit early, and then to finish up, and
which is what she did.
Which is what she did, yeah. And I intentionally didn't put her in company. I didn't want her on the bit, and she gallops good every day, but it is going 6.5 to 2 turns. They mentally have to take that first turn, be able to breathe comfortably, not grab the bit, and so.
And she finishes up here well as well.
Oh yeah, she covers so much ground. Yeah, I got to give a little shout out too to John Brocklebank and Louis Mendez, who they're the ones who picked her out and
started her in her very first career.
If not for John and Louis, this filly wouldn't be here. So.
And your buddy Todd Katie came along with the big paycheck, and he loves the game, obviously.
Oh, he's awesome. He's the best. Super competitive, and yeah, got a lot of skin in the game.
You mentioned Antonio Fraisu, and let's visit him for a minute. He rode overseas in Dubai primarily. You used him overseas. It probably comes as no surprise to you, Doug, that he's having such good success here already early on in his stage here in Southern California in his career. He's got a lot of ability, and most handicappers haven't caught on yet.
100%. I don't want to jinx him, but he's got.
You don't want to be the mush?
I don't want to be the mush, but he's got the Dettori Pratt thing about him. And
what is that specifically? Like he's almost like a mini trainer on the back of a horse?
Yeah, well, to me, you'll see some of these guys that will ride hard, and you got to applaud them. You're great, but sometimes the harder they ride, the horses back up, right? So there's that finesse. There's something about
the middle
riding
ground.
Hard and the horse is running for you.
Yes,
it's just something you can't explain. But
and Antonio fits that category
100%. And these guys that come from places like he's ridden in England and all over the world, Dubai, and he was one of the top riders in Dubai. Those guys, they ride in huge fields and they're right on top of each other, so it takes a lot of courage too, right? Their irons are clipping to the guy next to him, and so he's just a very brave, very athletic. He's won with the horse. Horses love him. They run for him, and I'm predicting he's a guy who's going to be a top 3 guy soon.
Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 5. We're back on the turf course sprinting. 6 furlongs the distance for maiden special weight fillies and mares. We got a good field of 9 here. Morning line favorite from the Jonathan Wong barn, number 6, Golden Microphone, 3-1 on the morning line. Here's another runner that you have ridden by Antonio Fraisu, number 3, Square Fun, who's taking the blinkers off. Why the decision to take the blinkers off today after the one race experience, Doug?
I don't know, but after I built up Fraisu, he's going to have to be like the next
Superman.
to get this horse to the website. This filly, being a Square Eddie, she's always, she hints like she's going to be okay, and she's run a couple good races, but last time we kept her on in the race, even though they came off the turf. So back on turf, taking the blinkers off just because she was a little bit keen early and then kind of flattened out last time. So hoping she can be forwardly placed, but not spend a lot of her energy, and Antonio can get her to finish up strong today, hopefully.
You heard any whispers from the Redham Racing Barn about number 5, Benster, a first-time starting daughter of I'll Have Another?
I do think, as much as I love I'll Have Another, he hasn't had the greatest stud career yet.
Yeah.
So it's still a chance. But I do think they like her, but that is something that we've talked about. The I'll Have Another's might be, ironically, better on the grass. So they got the right surface today.
Race number 7 starts the 50-cent late pick 4. We're sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track for allowance optional claiming types. Non-winners have one other than. Scratch the 2 leaves us with a field of 8. The morning line favorite, the very talented 3-year-old, number 1, Bus from the Steve Knapp barn at 6-5. You don't have a runner in the field, Doug, but you did train a runner in the field by the name of Rookie Mistake, who you lost for the $20,000 claiming tag. Mark Glatt was the winning claim off of 5 claims in that particular afternoon, way back in January of 2022. I know it's been a long time since.
How do you know there's a 5-way shake? How do you find that out?
I'm a professional, Doug.
All right.
I'm a professional.
It's very. Tell me out there.
It's a trade secret.
I do. Don't you think they should have that in the form?
It's actually on the San Diego website.
It is.
Full disclosure, it is. I'll show you exactly where. I know you and I are.
Great information.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So there were 5 claims in. I don't know if Mark Glatt was the lucky or unlucky winner that particular day, but he's had a lot of trouble getting this horse into the winner's circle. Now he shows up for the $40,000 tag. What do you recall about Rookie Mistake?
No, he was a horse that always trained well, and the talent is there. You could tell by his form. He's not crazy about winning.
And a half to Jimmy Bouncer.
And
remember Jimmy Bouncer?
I remember Jimmy Bouncer. Yeah, that was named after Paul's brother, Jim. But so I wouldn't sleep on that horse. That horse got a chance. Obviously, the rail horse with Steve Knapp is doing really well. Maldonado is a great rider. He knows this horse well. So 6-5, hand of blackjack. That horse breaks good there. It should be hard to catch.
Race number 8 is the Snow Chief Stakes, $150,000 guaranteed for 3-year-olds, going 1.1 miles on the turf course. We've got a field of 7 here. The morning line favorite, number 7, Hacking It Up at 2-1. Another runner that you used to own. Reading between the lines, it looks like Mr. Redham sold this privately to Qatar Racing. What do you know about Hacking It Up, Doug?
That was at that auction. Yeah, I should be probably punched in the gut for not trying this horse on the turf before.
That's the secret weapon.
Yeah, I think this horse is just a nice turf horse, and he was training well for us. And after he broke his maiden, he kind of laid a couple eggs, and Paul put him in the sale and sold him, and George and Qatar did a good job of picking him up. And I think he's going to be tough to beat today.
Race number 9 is the Thor's Echo Stakes. It's for 6 furlongs on the main track. It's $100,000 guaranteed. It also begins the $1 Golden Hour Pick 4. Linking our last 2 races here with the last 2 races at Golden Gate. We've got a field of 4 after the program scratch of the 1, as well as number 4 Positivity, who ran yesterday. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Doug, I want to show this the stretch run of the 2006 Breeders' Cup Sprint, won by none other than Thor's Echo.
Thor's Echo in the red, looking strong as he gets the lead with a quarter of a mile to go. Pomeroy in just behind the leaders. Then comes Friendly Island. Henny Hughes, something drastically amiss today. Henny Hughes didn't pick his feet up at all. He's far back. They come past the 300, and Thor's Echo takes the advantage and kicks on for home. And it's Thor's Echo, Bordenero along the inside. Running a big one here is Attila Storm. Coming late down the centre is Friendly Island. Nightmare Affair, but it's all Thor's Echo. And it's Thor's Echo in a dominating performance in the sprint. Thor's Echo and Corey Nakatani win it clear. Friendly Island was second.
Doug, Thor's Echo broke from the rail. Corey Nakatani gave him a masterful ride. And, of course, he was the second California bred to win a Breeders' Cup race, the first, of course, being Tiz Now. What do you remember about Thor's Echo and Perfect Pablo and that whole ownership group with the Superman Silks?
That's the first thing that jumps out is Pablo Suarez.
Yes.
I love Pablo. I haven't seen him in a little bit, but yeah, Pablo's great energy. It was a great group of people that owned Thor's Echo, and too bad he wasn't a colt, because I would love to see little Thor's Echoes out there, but he was a gelding, of course. But yeah, cool horse.
We've got a showdown here between Brickyard Ride and the Chosen Vron. I know it's difficult to kind of separate hairs there, but gun to your head, who would you maybe pick based upon either post position or raw talent?
The Chosen Vron.
The Chosen Vron.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yep.
Race number 10, we close out today's card. Keep in mind we have live racing tomorrow on Memorial Day. 10-race card also begins at 1 p.m. Pacific time. But before we do any of that, let's take a look at race number 10, which also offers $5 Golden Hour daily double wagering. We're going 1 mile on the turf course, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. Before we get your thoughts on the race, and number 5 Star Prospect is scratched out of the race. There's 3 runners that exit a race back on April 7th. It's Atomic Drop, Worst Reed Sanchez that Doug trains, as well as number 7 Short Man. Atomic Drop and Worst Reed Sanchez are going to break from the gate next to each other. Worst Reed Sanchez is easy to follow because he's a gray gelding. So let's watch the replay and listen to track announcer Frank Miramati describe the action back on April 7th.
And they're off. Atomic Drop, very fast away from the gate, opens up a couple in a hurry, just about enough, has prominent speed too, and moves to engage. Talk Less, Work More is in between those two, ensuring an honest early tempo. They're followed by Mischievous Path, 3 wide in the red colors, and down at the rail comes Orth, about 5 lengths off the lead. Then comes Mamba Cool, who's in between horses around the first turn, has 5 lengths to make up. Another couple back to the gray, Worst Reed Sanchez, who's racing a length in front of Club Cal. Sunshine Babe, who bobbled pretty badly out of the gate, is second to last, leaving Short Man as the trailer. It's Atomic Drop taking them down the backstretch with Talk Less, Work More, a length and a half behind in second. Just about enough is a clear-cut third. Orth is down at the rail, fourth, about 4 lengths off the lead, followed by Mamba Cool, Mischievous Path, Worth Reed Sanchez at the rail, and Club Cal outside of them. The mare, Sunshine Babe, looks for a little bit of racing room, passed by Short Man, who starts a 3-wide bid. It's been all Atomic Drop since the gate opened under Abel Sabino, now trying to close the deal right now with a 3-length lead. Talk Less, Work More is racing in second. A continued very, very wide rally on the outside from Mamba Cool in third. They're a furlong from the finish. An Atomic Drop still just keeps on cruising with a 3-length lead. Talk Less, Work More, Worst Reed Sanchez, Sunshine Babe, a better than look performance outside. It's Mamba Cool, a late run from Club Cal, but it will be Atomic Drop, coast to coast.
Doug, that was Worst Reed Sanchez's comeback effort since the November layoff. Last time I'd had to go on the main track when the race was taken off the turf. Pretty good comeback race, I thought. Kind of ran evenly and certainly is eligible to improve today.
I agree. He's a horse that a mile on the turf suits him, so hopefully we get a good hot pace and we can get him home tonight.
Got a reel in Atomic Drop, which is never easy, coming from the Phil D'Amato barn. Won this condition last time out, now in for the $40,000 tag. Yeah. I'm sure there'll be a claim slips in for him as well. Doug, thanks so much for your time. I know you're a very busy man. It was a pleasure having you join us, and thank you so much for the insight and continued success the rest of the year. Thanks so much, Doug. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Next voice here will be track announcer Frank Miramati, updating us with any leg program changes. Have fun, everybody, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast and the turf course is firm. The rail on the turf is out 10 feet. Here are the changes. The first race is the Crystal Water, scratch number 4, Indian Peak, and we had the program scratch of number 7. Early pick 5 begins with race 1. In the second, program scratch of number 3. Second race today is the Ed Golden Retirement Purse. Anchor note for number 1 in the third. The fourth is the Franz Valentine, scratch 4, closing remarks. No high 5 wagering offered. There is a revised morning line. In the fifth, the Mel Air, 276,000 in the Rainbow Pick 6 jackpot carryover. Please be advised that regardless of the pool size today, if there is a single ticket winner, it will pay $1 million. Big news tomorrow in the Rainbow 6. We have a mandatory payout tomorrow. No changes in the Mel Air. In the sixth race, blinker notes start the late pick 5. The seventh, number 1, Bus Buzz, 1 pound over. Scratch number 2, Sawazdi. The eighth is the Snow Chief Stakes. Blinker notes. Ninth starts the Golden Hour pick 4, program scratch of 1. Scratch number 4, Positivity. There is no show wagering in the Thor's Echo. And in the 10th, number 4, Stay in the Game 2 over. 5-star prospect scratched. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. Post time for the opener, 24 minutes at 1 p.m.